Welcome, crypto fam, to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. In today's show, I'll be sharing the latest Bitcoin technical analysis as Bitcoin's currently correcting in the $63,000 range. We'll also be discussing breaking news. Hong Kong's largest online broker launches Bitcoin and Ether trading for 22 million users. That's right. We'll also be discussing the closing price for the month of July is officially at 64,600. Obviously, we're still correcting since that closing. We're also going to be discussing the U.S. Senator discussing Trump's Bitcoin plan and national BTC stockpile. That's right. As well as Senator Lummis introduces Bitcoin Strategic Reserve Bill into the Senate. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin's ultimate price could surpass 700,000 per coin based on 3% portfolio allocation, according to on-chain analysts Willy Woo. We'll also be discussing how Bitcoin can likely reach $2.9 million per coin, according to VanEck Analysts. I'll also be sharing the timeline. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. So if you're new to the channel, very important to smash the likes and subscribe, then hit the bell icon. Make sure you turn on all notifications. That way you get notified each and every day when JV goes live. Today is pod episode 1718. I'm your host, JV. It's August 1st, 2024. So happy first of the month. Get up, get up. Hope you're having a wonderful day. It's the first of the month and we stack in BTC as we do. We have a pretty fantastic dip, a great buying opportunity to take advantage of with Bitcoin currently hovering above 63,400. Here's our market watch. You should be able to see Coin 360 on your screen. Bitcoin down roughly 3% on the day. Ether down 4%. Solana down 8%. And XRP down almost 8%. While Cardano and virtually every major crypto correcting and in the red. And checking out CoinMarketCap.com. We're currently sitting at a 2.27 trillion market cap, total crypto that is. Bitcoin is at $1.2 trillion. We have 85 billion worth of volume for the past 24 hours, up about 30% on the day. Bitcoin dominance is currently 55.2%. Ether dominance is 16.6%. And let's see if there's any gainers. There's a handful, but not much. Helium's up 6%, Aave's up 1%, and Leo's up 1%. That's pretty much it. The rest of the market correcting and in the red. And checking out the crypto bubbles to get a visual perspective on the daily, not looking pretty good. I'd say maybe 97% of the market bleeding, bloodshed in the red Rex City. And zooming out on the monthly, get a broader perspective. It don't look much better. Maybe 90% of the market correcting. And in the red, with a lot of those alts bleeding, aka Rex City, as you stack them bittays. And historical data shows the Crypto Greed and Fear Index currently a 52, neutral. Yesterday, 61 in greed, 68 last week, and last month a 51. Which is neutral. So there you have it, my crypto fam. But yeah, let's dive into today's TA family. Here we go. Astrology for the broskies. Headline reads, Bitcoin ignores 100% Fed rate cut odds as the Bitcoin price taps 2-week lows. And as I shared earlier, as Plan B pointed out, the Bitcoin July closing price was 64,600. We got the monthly close just last night. So there you go. But yeah, yo. So Bitcoin stayed lower at the August 1st Wall Street Open as crypto shrugged off fresh central bank interest rate cuts. Here you're looking at the Bitcoin 1-hour chart. So data from TradingView showed Bitcoin price lacking momentum after dropping 2.5% the day prior. Downside persisted despite the U.S. Fed adopting a dovish tone at the latest meeting to decide on interest rate changes. In a press conference following the FOMC decision to leave the rates unchanged, Fed Chair Jay Powell hinted that a cut could come at the next meeting in September. And may I remind you, Jerome ain't your motherfucking Powell, and Pay ain't your motherfucking Powell, and Tommy ain't your motherfucking boy. Quoting him here. We have stated that we do not expect it'll be appropriate to reduce the target range for the federal funds rate until we have gained greater confidence that inflation is moving sustainably towards 2%. Oh, wow. They have inflation so under control. Thank you, Jay Powell, for saving the day. The second quarter's inflation readings have added to our confidence, and more good data would further strengthen that confidence. We will continue to make our decision meeting by meeting Markets, meanwhile, had already priced in 100% odds of a September cut. Saw this ultimately being 0.25% per data from the CME Group's FedWatch tool. And while U.S. equities reacted well to the event, crypto showed little interest in following suit. Unfortunately, currently at local lows of roughly 63.3 at the time of this recording, the mental illness continues. Historically, liquidity sweeps fail if they've been endlessly front run, according to Crypto Chase. Quoting him again, I don't have a strong read here, but I think anywhere from the 61s to 59 is possible. Bids simply depend on how aggressive and confident you are. Except below 59, it's a bad look. And keep in mind, family, just under 59, there is an open CME futures gap at roughly 58,750. So there is a probability we drop below that. Now, fellow trader Crypto meanwhile, saw the potential for a short squeeze from the near current levels, noting the bulk of the liquidation levels lay above, not below the spot. He predicted that such an event could come before the weekend. The weekend's almost here. It's Thursday already. Good Lord. Now, zooming out, trading firm QCP said the inflows into the newly launched U.S. spot Ether ETFs could provide short-term narrative for a crypto market sentiment. Quoting them here, unfortunately, the rally in equities was not felt in crypto. Crypto experienced a broad sell-off overnight into the morning. And also they shared that the market remains on edge as traders pay close attention to the daily ETH ETF outflows and further supply pressures from Mt. Gox as well as U.S. government. QCP saw the ongoing posturing by U.S. presidential candidates playing a key role for crypto moving forward. Quoting them again, longer-term discussions among U.S. presidential candidates and senators regarding a sovereign Bitcoin reserve and the potential for other nations to follow suit could fundamentally alter the crypto landscape if continued. The establishment of a U.S. or sovereign put on Bitcoin prices may have significant implications, potentially making accumulation on dips a strategic investment approach. So there you have it, yo. And now for some live chartage action brought to you by TradingView via Coinbase. As you can see, live and in the flesh, we have Bitcoin hovering just above $63,400. This is the 1 hour chart. We do have a target all the way sitting at $54,500. And zooming out, let's check out the 4 hour chart. Here you go. You can see we had that big red candle, unfortunately, but we have corrected. I mean, gained a little momentum since then, but we're still in the 63 range. So let's see. We also have a target sitting all the way down at 54,300 on this 4 hour chart. And zooming out a little more, let's check out the 1 day. As you can see here, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive red candles for the past 4 days since the week started. Unfortunately, we had a nice little weekend pumpage. That's when we thought we were recapturing 70, but this week has been pretty bloody, to say the least. So there's the daily chart, and we also have a target on the daily sitting at $47,700. And zooming out a little more, we'll check out the 1 week, which should still be intact as the bullish chart here. We still have the bullish flag formation. We still have a target, which is a cup and handle sitting just shy of 126,000. So still bullish overall on the weekly, even though we have that big red candle forming. And beyond that, let's just zoom out for the 1 month chart, as you can see on your screen. And it looks like we had an itty bitty green close, at 64.5, wherever that monthly close was. But I was really anticipating to regain all that bullish momentum moving into August, but we shall soon see. Maybe a little longer of consolidations. But there you have it. My crypto fam, let me know where you feel will likely strike for the month of August as far as price action is concerned. Big news coming out of Hong Kong. Headline reads, Hong Kong's largest online broker launches Bitcoin and Ether trading for 22 million users. That's right, 22 new million users, fam. Hong Kong's largest online brokerage, Futu Securities International, launched crypto trading for the 22 million customers. Futu Securities launched the Bitcoin and Ether trading for Hong Kong-based users of its platform. So shout out Hong Kong. This makes Futu Securities the first online brokerage to directly offer crypto to Hong Kong-based retail investors, according to a report by the South China Morning Post. The platform debuted for trading July 23rd, so last week, showcasing the growing investor interest. Bitcoin's open interest hit a record high of almost 40 billion on July 29th, increasing expectations of an imminent price breakout. Also, I must share, roughly 10 hours ago, the Bitcoin hash rate hit yet another all-time high. So don't be deceived by the short-term fiat price action, family. We're heading to the moon. The debut of the first spot Ether ETFs in the U.S. has bolstered institutional interest in crypto and crypto-based financial instruments. Notably, asset management giant Franklin Templeton had partnered with SBI Holdings to establish a crypto ETF management company in Japan. As reported by Cointelegraph, the joint venture aims to offer a new generation of investors easier access to crypto-based trading products. Moreover, the joint venture, JV, I love the word joint venture, it's a JV, could also launch a Japan-based crypto ETF once the regulatory framework permits, according to a Franklin Templeton spokesperson who shared the following. It is expected that the joint venture will provide a diversified range of investment solutions, including Franklin Templeton's existing ETFs, as regulations on digital assets and cryptos continue to evolve in Japan. The new JV will launch related products subject to regulatory approval. Just note, family, there's only one original JV. I digress. Further showcasing the growing institutional interest, Bitflyer Holdings has acquired FTX Japan, planning to potentially launch crypto ETFs for the Japanese investors. Let's go. And based on the regulatory decisions of the past few years, Hong Kong is aiming to become the global hub for crypto and blockchain innovation. Earlier in July, Hong Kong unveiled its new stablecoin licensing regime, which generated general support from respondents after a 2-month public consultation period that ended in February. Now, Eddie Yu, the CEO of HKMA, expressed appreciation for the feedback received and emphasized the strong support for the proposed regulatory regime, which is expected to promote a sustainable and responsible stablecoin ecosystem in Hong Kong. Quoting him here, "We believe that a well-regulated environment is conducive to the sustainable and responsible development of the stablecoin ecosystem in Hong Kong. However, Hong Kong has been facing challenges in becoming a global crypto hub, including an exodus from popular crypto firms. In fact, on July 18th, the HKX crypto exchange was the latest to join a growing list of exchanges that have withdrawn their license applications from the Hong Kong regulator. And as of July 22nd, a total of 13 crypto exchanges or trading platforms have withdrawn their license applications in Hong Kong, with one having its application returned for undisclosed reasons, which is always interesting, but this is pretty big news as 22 million new investors in Hong Kong now have access to Bitcoin and Ethereum trading. So let's freaking go. So there you have it, yo. But yeah, here's the latest with the Trump pump BTC. Headline here reads, U.S. Senator discusses Trump's Bitcoin plan and national BTC stockpile. That's right. U.S. Senator Bill Hagerty, a member of the Senate Banking and Foreign Relation Committees, discussed former U.S. President Trump Bitcoin promises, including the potential national Bitcoin stockpile plan, during a Monday interview with Fox Business. Quoting him here from the interview, President Trump announced a very clear plan. He said, "We've got a great deal of the Bitcoin already in the coffers of the United States. This is Bitcoin that has been confiscated, etc. He is going to hold on to that." The senator added he did not announce a broader program to begin to acquire Bitcoin, but what he talked about was retaining that as our coffers and not selling it, and making that a benchmark that really gives credibility to the Bitcoin currency. And elaborating on Trump's broader vision of the crypto, Hagerty emphasized an end to the current administrator's adversarial stance towards crypto. He explained that Trump opposes a CBDC, central bank digital currency, which he views as a tool for financial control akin to China's digital yuan. Hagerty noted that the former president supports the decentralized nature of cryptos and advocates for self-custody, aiming to foster innovation domestically rather than driving it offshore, as was the case with semiconductors. Moreover, Hagerty highlighted the alignment of Republican principles with the values of the crypto community, such as liberty, freedom, prosperity, and innovation. He believes this connection is attracting new voters and supporters to the Republican Party, with Trump at the forefront. And regarding the potential benefits of a national Bitcoin stockpile, he stated, I think there are a number of legislative proposals about what might happen beyond what President Trump announced. I think what that does is establish a level of credibility for the currency. It shows that this is something that we are going to be supporting as a nation moving forward. I am most interested in the productivity and innovation that will come with it as well. So there you have it, family. Let me know your thoughts on what the senator had to share in response to Trump's speech on crypto, which was just given a few days ago at the Bitcoin conference. Actually, it was on Saturday, right? Less than a week ago. Let me know, family. Trump made some bold announcements. RFK Jr. made some bold announcements with some executive orders that he would sign day one. Some of Trump's plans. He said he promised to fire chairman of the SEC, Mr. Gary Gensler, on day one. In fact, he got such a good response from the crowd, he had to repeat himself and say it twice and double down. I will fire Gary Gensler, chairman of the SEC, day one. You're fired, Gary. He also says he'll stockpile the Bitty, which is a beautiful thing, and that they're looking to make America the home for Bitcoin mining, which is another beautiful promise as well. You know, RFK made some very bold promises, including purchasing 550 Bitcoin per day every day into the United States as a stockpile or strategic reserve of 4 million Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Cynthia Lummis said some very bullish things as well, which we'll be diving into here soon. So let me know some of your thoughts, family. Next story of the day, let's discuss this Bitcoin bill from Senator Lummis, Senator Lummis introduces Bitcoin Strategic Reserve Bill for the Senate. That's right. Cynthia Lummis officially introduced the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve Bill on July 31st that would direct the United States government to start a reserve fund for the scarce, decentralized asset. More specifically, the bill would establish a decentralized network of secure Bitcoin vaults under the control of the United States Treasury. The bill also directs lawmakers and bureaucrats to enact strict cybersecurity parameters and other physical security measures to ensure that the Bitcoin funds are not stolen. The bill also laid out a goal of accumulating 1 million Bitcoin over time, or roughly 5% of the Bitcoin total supply, using existing U.S. Treasury funds to acquire the Bitcoin in amounts that mirror the U.S. Treasury's gold allocation. And in conjunction with the introduction of the bill, the Wyoming senator also released a statement about the historical proposal, quoting her here, as families across Wyoming struggle to keep up with the soaring inflation rates and our national debt reaches new and unprecedented heights. I believe we just surpassed 35 trillion, family. It is time for the U.S. to take bold steps to create a brighter future for generations to come by creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now, who was the first one to notify you guys that there was a rumor that there may be some big announcements at the Bitcoin Nashville event surrounding the United States of America stockpiling or putting Bitcoin in a treasury? It was Max Kaiser. And who was the first podcaster to cover that story? It was JV. And lo and behold, we had two political candidates, Trump and RFK Jr., make these promises, ultimately stockpiling Bitcoin for the United States of America. So it's a beautiful thing. Pretty slick. Now, anyways, Lummis's bill also reaffirmed the right to self-custody in the United States. It seeks to protect this right, which has come under fire from certain U.S. lawmakers. Now, if you are one of the lawmakers that proposed this bill, F you. We don't want you. You know what I mean? Go hit the road, Jack. Senator Lummis's ambitious plan to acquire 5% of the Bitcoin supply has hinted at the echoed by politicians like RFK Jr., who gave very bold predictions. He said day one, his executive order would be to purchase up 550 Bitcoin per day till they had 4 million in their possession. However, shortly after Trump promised not to sell any of the U.S. Bitcoin holdings, the government transferred almost 30,000 Bitties valued at roughly $2 billion to an unmarked wallet address, prompting Galaxy Digital CEO Mike Novogratz to characterize the moves as tone deaf. Now, that can't be a coincidence. Trump made the big announcement on stage. RFK made a big announcement. 2 days later, U.S. government moves $2 billion worth of the Bitty. Are they trying to sell it so that these potential presidents can't stockpile the Bitty? More than likely, family. Now, still others have hope that the current inflationary woes plaguing the U.S. dollar through the government's $35 trillion national debt will drive the case for a return to hard assets like Bitcoin, the hardest asset, the only currency that's unf-wittable and unconfiscatable. Now, Matt Bell, the CEO of TurboFish, believes that this is the case, and in a recent statement argued that the sustainability of the fiat currencies is causing growing concerns amongst the global population. So there you go, yo. Let me know your thoughts surrounding that bill for the U.S. to acquire 1 million Bitcoin, maybe as much as 4 million, as per RFK Jr.'s promise. Now, there is a little bit of a conflict you got to keep in mind. The Federal Reserve that prints the money, it's the central banking cartels that control the United States government. Bitcoin is their Achilles heel. They don't like Bitcoin. They don't like a strong Bitcoin price. More than likely, we have Senator Warren, Gary Gensler, Biden, Harris, and their whole party anti-Bitcoin because they're working for the central banking cartel behind the scenes that is really pulling the strings. Do you understand that? A strong Bitcoin undermines the US dollar. And if the US government, hypothetically speaking, stockpile 4 million Bitcoin on their balance sheet, it would create game theory throughout the world with nation state adoption, sovereign wealth adoption. It's what we want, clearly, but more than likely, the central banking cartel that runs the world is not going to allow that. You got to keep that in mind. Why is that? Because, again, it undermines the dollar. It means all the people would dump their USD, including countries and sovereign wealth funds. And then they would just go long on Bitcoin. And before you know it, the dollar would implode. Bitcoin would go to the moon, which would be their worst nightmare. So you have to have that in the back of your mind. Granted, the politicians need your vote. 50 million Bitcoiners in the United States, population maybe 350 million. That's a big chunk. So they want your vote. So they're going to give you promises you want to hear, but they may not be able to fulfill those promises considering the Federal Reserve runs the world. It prints the dollars. Do you guys understand that? Let me know your thoughts. But anyways, family, we discussed the bill. Now let's discuss the 700,000 target, according to on-chain analyst Willy Woo. And then we'll dive into VanEck's very bullish sentiment, projecting Bitcoin to hit 2.9 million per coin. I'll be sharing their timeline and why they believe this is going to happen. And then we'll dive into our live Q&A as we continue to pump it up. So yeah, Bitcoin's ultimate price could surpass 700,000 per coin based on a 3% portfolio allocation. That's right, yo. The Bitcoin price could ultimately reach up to 700,000 per BTC, provided financial institutions continue bolstering the adoption curve of the world's first crypto. Bitcoin could reach an ultimate price of over 700,000 based on an assumed 3% portfolio allocation, according to popular crypto analysts Willy Woo. In fact, let me read you his tweet from 14 hours ago. It got a lot of love, I believe already almost 300,000 views. So yeah, here we go. Nobody knows what the ultimate price of Bitcoin will be, but simple math can give us an upper bound. All wealth assets is 500 trillion. So if Bitcoin captured all of this, never going to happen, it's 24 million per coin. Today's value before the future inflation adjustment. So the question is, what will be the realistic allocation for everyone? Wealth management is very predictable, and money flows in a conservative manner according to known wisdom. Bitcoin, even in this early phase of asset class, Fidelity recommends 1 to 3% allocation, while we have seen numbers as high as 85% from BlackRock. That's right. They suggest 84.9% Bitcoin allocation in a portfolio. We have covered that multiple times here on the pod. So you run the math on that one, family. It's wild. But anyways, if we assume 3% as a sensible allocation, and I note that was the number we used to share back in 2014, the lower bound of valuation is 700,000 per bitty. And again, that's based off 3% allocation from the major asset managers. So price target range, 700,000 lower bound, 24 million max bound. And that's in today's inflation adjusted numbers. Let me know if you agree, disagree with Willy Woo. He also added, so now everyone is asking when. This is also a well-known phenomena via the adoption S-curve. 16% is early majority, 50% late majority. Wealth management is somewhere in this sector. So figure out when Bitcoin adoption enters 16 to 50%, world adoption based on the yellow line. I mean, we're just getting started, family. So you already know. He also wrote, once the price produces a market cap exceeding all the fiat in the world, you won't be interested in the ultimate price. That's a fiat mindset based on current realities. After this inflection point, you'll only be looking for investments that can beat BTC. For starters, these are companies that store their profits in BTC. Michael Saylor was the first publicly traded CEO to figure this out. But a lot more are coming. So very powerful words here coming from Willy Woo. So Bitcoin's growing price is attracting, as you know, more institutional investors with large amounts of capital, which could significantly contribute to the price appreciation. The Bitcoin price can be on track to reach a new all-time high by September next month based on historical chart patterns. So there you go, yo. And I shared with you already the S curve and all that with the charts. Shout out Willy Woo, the on-chain analyst, and let me know if you agree or disagree. 700 G's is destiny, and that's the lower end of the spectrum. Again, the higher end would be 24 million per coin. Now for our feature story of the day. Here's how Bitcoin reaches 2.9 million per coin, according to major asset management giant VanEck. That's right, family. Major, massive bullish prediction coming from VanEck here. Analysts at the investment management giant VanEck think the Bitcoin price can skyrocket to 2.9 million per coin. But here's the kicker: by 2050. So we got quite a while before that. Just FYI. But for that to happen, Bitcoin will need to become a key part of the international monetary system. According to Matthew Siegel, VanEck's head of digital asset research, and Patrick Bush, senior investment analyst at the firm, quoting him here. We expect Bitcoin to be widely used in international trade, becoming a significant medium of exchange and a valuable store of wealth. This leads to Gresham's law-like feedback loop. As Bitcoin becomes more useful and valuable, central banks and long-term investors will want to hold more Bitcoin, reducing the amount available in the floating supply. Siegel and Bush say it is conceivable that Bitcoin could be used to settle 10% of the globe's international trade and 5% of the world's domestic trade by 2050. Quoting them again, this scenario would result in central banks holding 2.5% of their assets in Bitcoin. Using assumptions about global growth, investor Bitcoin demand, and Bitcoin's turnover, we apply a velocity of money equation to suggest a potential price of $2.9 million per Bitcoin, translating to a total market cap of $61 trillion. Now, the velocity of money measures the rate money is used to buy the goods and services in an economy. So there you have it. VanEck, major asset management giant, 2.9 million by the year 2050. Personally, in 2050, Bitcoin could be $2 billion. Who knows? I'm just going to say it. We've already had Jurrien Timmer of Fidelity come out, and he's the head of macro at Fidelity, projecting Bitcoin could hit $1 billion per coin. Why $1 billion? Hyperinflation. It's a possibility. Bitcoin has no top because fiat has no bottom. Realistically, will the US dollar still be in existence in 20-something years? Probably not. Very low probability on that. So if the dollar is no longer here and it gets replaced with, hypothetically speaking, a CBDC, in which our leaders promised us will never happen, then anything is possible. Bitcoin, if the world is hyperinflated and a loaf of bread costs $10,000, who knows? Maybe Bitcoin will be hundreds of millions of dollars one day. You know what I mean? Now, at today's inflation and current, situation, 2.5 million Bitcoin, I can see that realistically happening within a couple of more cycles. I think this particular cycle, we peak out somewhere between 222,000 and 750, 750 being my bull scenario, 222 being my bear scenario. Then I think the following halving in 2028 will spark the next epoch for Bitcoin to hit 7 figures. So hypothetically speaking, let's just run with my conservative projection for this cycle at 250,000. Well, then I think next year we have the potential to 4x to $1 million per coin. And then the following halving, 2032, very realistic, multiple 7 figures. So I would throw a timestamp on that of by 3033, I can see a $2.9 million Bitcoin very realistically. I don't think it has to take until 2050, but there you have it. That's my personal projection of where we're likely to go from this particular halving of where we're at to the following epoch. And the following epoch, 2.9 million. It's inevitable, in my humble opinion. Bitcoin will continue to do what it does best. I mean, for Christ's sake, we're up over 64 million% since its inception, 15 years ago, since the Genesis block of January 3rd, 2009. Bitcoin's on a 15-year trajectory of bullishness. If you look at the bigger picture, I'm a big picture type of guy. I'm always thinking about future halving cycles where Bitcoin will likely to be. I can care less about the short-term price action. We just do it because it's fun, right? It's just fun to watch. But nonetheless, focus your eyes on the prize, cycles down the road, and become yourself a Bitcoin hodler for at least 10 years. Have at least a 10-year hodl strategy. That would be my advice to each and every one of you. Not financial investment advice, but just savings advice, just common sense. Treat your Bitcoin as a savings. Do not save in fiat. In fact, those who save in fiat currency, what do we call them, folk?
People that use fiat currency, we call them poor.
Yeah, so all you need to know, save in Bitcoin. Treat Bitcoin as your savings. Stop using these savings accounts at your banks. In fact, remove all your money from the bank as soon as possible and put all that fiat into Bitcoin and save in Bitcoin. Why? Because it's mathematically guaranteed to increase your purchasing power against the dollar, whereas the dollar is mathematically guaranteed to decrease your purchasing power. That's all you need to know. Bitcoin goes up when you save in Bitcoin, right? Your purchasing power goes up. When you save in fiat, your purchasing power goes down, right? That's why for $100, you can barely get any groceries at the store. 10 years ago, you could get a decent amount of groceries. It's going to continue this way. With $100, you're going to get less and less and less and less to where you can't even buy anything. It's going to happen. It's happening already. F to BS. Don't believe anything Jay Powell, Janet Yellen, and these fraudsters tell you. They don't have inflation under control. They never will. They never have. Inflation is out of control. Why is it out of control? They continue to print money. We're 35 trillion in debt. They're going to continue to print and print and print and print. That means it's mathematically guaranteed to increase your inflation. Believe nothing they say. Verify everything they do. I'm just saying. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but I gotta say that. That's not much of what I do now. That's pretty much what I do now, right on Golden. You just gotta save in Bitcoin. That's the bigger picture. Don't complicate this. You just save in Bitcoin. Road to 65,000 in minutes. We're only $100 away. Send it. Let's get it.